Hello.
नमस्कार.
Namaste, Guruji.
नमस्ते.
नमस्ते गुरुजी.
Namaste. मेरा
माँ जी को कोई फोन करे.
I cannot hear you.
Hello.
बहुत बहुत नमस्कार और आप सभी लोगों का स्वागत है इस एक लाइव चर्चा में. I welcome all of you to this live informal session about taking on the subject of Reiki. Initially, I had thought that I would take one-on-one session if somebody wants to ask something. Then because of the request which came in the group, we did it a informal kind of a meeting. So what I have currently done is I have muted all of you. However, whenever you wish to, you can unmute yourself, and that's how probably sanity will maintain, because we are a lot of people. So it will be easier for us to understand each other that way. So I would request Nisha ji to kindly moderate this meeting so that I can answer whatever your queries are to the best of my ability in the least amount of time.
If you don't mind, I can make a start. I'm Shalini from UK. Okay, you know what I was saying, because all those things you have taught us, meridian points and chakras and other things, would it be possible for you to send us pictures, because it will be difficult to remember it all, especially when we are learning, and it will be nice to have it as a reference material to practice. Would that be possible at all?
Yes, of course. We have received a query like this from 2 or 3 participants, and that is in the pipeline. Very soon I'll be posting you detailed diagrams regarding the chakras and the meridians as well, so that you are able to figure out at your own convenience where they lie on the human body. So probably within the next 48 hours, you'll get that.
Okay.
Yeah, Nisha ji,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Guruji. My question is,
Please
the
identify
meridian.
so that everybody knows who's speaking.
My name is Manjula Popat,
Ji.
and I'm asking that the meridians you mentioned on Reiki healing, is it the same as kinesiology and other therapies?
See, meridians remain meridians whether they are being used by kinesiology, by Reiki, by acupressure, by acupuncture. Just like the chakras remain the same. They form the essential energy system of either the human body or the body of an animal or the body of any other system, like a tree, like a plant, anything which has energy. And we say that everything which exists is holy because everything is God-made. We didn't make it, or even if we made it by the elements which were made available to us by the Almighty. So everything is holy and everything has energy, and our belief is that everything has consciousness. So therefore, whoever studied, see, you will ask a question and then you will let me answer. You will not interrupt me while I am answering. So that would be the modus operandi. That would be easy to follow for everyone. And otherwise, if you speak in between, then my thought pattern gets broken.
I'm sorry.
No problem, ma'am, please. So some of the Chinese people, they studied how the energy works on the human body, and then they came out with the fantastic concept called the meridians, or the roads where the energies run. If we are aware about these roads, we become a better Reiki healer. However, if we do not know about these roads, if we are ignorant or we choose not to learn about them, then also we can become very good healers. We can affect the body either through the gross body, or we can affect the body through the energy body. When we talk about the gross body, it is all visible. When we talk about the energy body, we have to rely either on our own level. If we have a deeper level, we'll be able to see with our eyes, or even with the eyes closed. We can feel it. It is called a psychic ability. If we can do that, then we have to rely on the studies of other people One of the civilization which had done it was the Chinese. They came up with meridians. The other concepts are there in the Egyptian civilization, which I didn't talk about. The other concepts are available in the Indian system, which we call as chakras, which I did talk about. This was also studied by the Mayans, by the Rosicrucians, by the Theosophists. So these remain the same irrespective of which modality of healing we are trying to use. Ma'am.
Thank you.
Most welcome.
Guruji, this is Prasad. Can I ask one question?
Please, I am here for you.
Yeah, Guruji, thanks a lot for this group and your help on this educating us. So my question was that, like, if we have got so many healings, like, pranic healing, Reiki, and a lot of things, like, so if they are very much real and powerful, then why we don't have those many healing centers compared to hospitals?
Very nice question. See, what happens is there is a time for everything. See, what do you feel about, mobile phones? I'm not asking, I'm just conversing with myself. So what do we feel about mobile phones? See, a mobile phone is a better phone than a normal landline phone. However, there was a time when even after the mobile phone had been invented and the technology was there in the countries, for example, 40 years ago, it was available in America, still people were using the landline phones. Why? A, because they were largely unaware of the technology, or B, probably that was very expensive, or C, the time practically did not come by then. Number two, what happens is that there is a time for everything. This something called acupressure or Nadi Vigyan was available. It is still available in many of our ancient texts. People are finding those ancient texts and then they are propagating their theories. There are so many Koreans and so many Chinese scientists who have used the basic yogic model of acupressure, and they have mentioned it as well. So that means that these things, if they were available, say about 2000, 3000, 4000 years ago, then suddenly, why did they get lost and how come they are now starting to resurface? So there is a time for everything. Just because we do not find enough healing centers around the world, or as you said, that the number of healing centers are less than the number of hospitals in the world, does not mean that our system is not effective or the healing modalities are not effective. It is only a question that which science proves to be better, and slowly and gradually, whatever the God's wish would be, the destiny would be, that particular science will prevail for a number of years to come. That is how I perceive it.
Thanks a lot, Guruji. Just a last question, like, how do we deal with this anxiety and fear with Reiki or any pranic healing, Guruji?
One thing is fear. The other thing, what did you say?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Okay. Give me a sec. I'll just admit all. There were some people waiting I did not see. All right. So anxiety. Now, this is how we have to think. I am giving you an answer, but I am giving you the background, because tomorrow when I am not there, you will be able to think on your own as well. I will answer you specifically, but just by giving a little background as well. So the thing is that where does anxiety happen? Anxiety does not happen here. Anxiety does not happen here. Anxiety does not happen here. So where does anxiety happen? We have to ask. The first thing we do in any kind of a healing is regional diagnosis. Where does it actually happen? So anxiety has to do more with the mind than the body. Therefore, the place we have to heal is somewhere here. Now, either we go in for the third eye chakra, or we do a symptomatic treatment. And what is a symptomatic treatment? This was the regional diagnosis, that here that anxiety has to do more with the mind than the body, and this is all below the neck is all to do with the body. If you have to do something with the mind, they say that you have to come here to the third eye chakra. The second approach is that we see that whenever a person is anxious, he will start to move. He will not be able to stick at one particular place. So here there is a lot of wind. Okay, here there is a lot of in the Vishuddhi chakra or the throat chakra. So this is the place where I practically give Reiki to any person who's suffering from anxiety coupled with the third eye chakra. These are the two places where I give Reiki in case of anxiety. But when we talk about fear, it is a different game altogether. First, yes, fear has to do with not the body, but with the mind. But then, why is a person fearful? A person would be fearful because either he has received some threats, or perhaps he feels that whatever resources he has in terms of time, money, effort, etc., are not able to fulfill his obligations. Therefore, very important thing is that we have to straight away go to the root chakra, because the root chakra is concerned with food, shelter, and clothing. And whenever there is a problem in the food, shelter, and clothing, then the person becomes either violent or fearful. So there are two kinds of people in the world. A, who have enough willpower, and people who have a lot of willpower and who express themselves outwardly might end up being violent for the same situation. And the other persons who tend to give up very soon, they will be very fearful of this kind of a situation. In both the cases, we will target the root chakra. This is how I do it. I am not saying you do it the same way, but since you are learning from me, so what I would have done or what I do personally is that is something which I am sharing with you. However, you might have a different analysis which you can think about, apply, and if you find the results, it is good for you, you can share with the world.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. I think Purnima ji is trying to speak something, but her the volume has to be unmuted. The mic has to be unmuted, ma'am.
Okay. Guruji, it's Purnima here. Sorry.
Ji, Purnima ji, please.
My question was, can we use Reiki to improve our stamina and vitality? And if yes, then how can we improve it?
Stamina and vitality. Okay.
Yes.
So you have a premise that if the vitality is increased, stamina is not increased. Is stamina a byproduct of vitality? You have to ask this question to yourself before you start to categorize them as two different things. How I see it is probably that, stamina is something which is also related to a lot of extent to vitality. If a person, he is feeling more energy, then probably he has more stamina as well. Now coming to how can we increase vitality? Now first I want to ask you, from where are you speaking right now?
From UK, Bedford, UK.
All right. So now what happens is, for vitality, there are a couple of approaches to follow. We have to find out why the vitality has gone down, or is the person healthy enough, but he just wants to increase his vitality. Now, if the vitality has gone down, whether it is a temporary phenomena, it is because of aging, etc., etc., etc. A thing, the energy centers. We have to target the energy centers, and those are 7. Out of those seven energy centers, the bottom 3 are very important, especially the Manipur and the Swadhisthana chakra, because they have to do with the digestive system. And the Manipur chakra is the most important chakra because it has also to do with the adrenal glands, which are above the kidney, almost at that level. So when the adrenals are working properly, a person feels absolutely fine. So if a person is fatigued, if he is very tired, if he says that I am normally okay, but today I am not okay, or for the past 2 months I am not feeling okay, then what we do, this is not a chronic fatigue case. Then what we do is we normally go in for the massage of adrenals through acupressure point, and in Reiki we try to heal the kidney meridian and the Manipur chakra. These are the two things.
Not the third eye.
These are the two things which we'll try to heal. Now, if in case the person feels lack of energy, because of overthinking. Because what is happening these days is these are times of stress. So many people are so stressful and they keep on thinking about so many things, that how the future is going to unfold. And you know, this was one of the primary reasons why I started this course, because I wanted people at least not to suffer from any kind of psychological problems. And if they are suffering, then we should be empowered enough to heal ourselves. So if a person is facing a lot of stress, and just because of this particular stress, he is feeling out of energy, then we would heal the third eye chakra. Otherwise, we will concentrate on the Manipur chakra, which is related with the adrenal glands. Is it okay, ma'am?
Guruji,
See, is
Guruji,
it
I would like to ask a question. Guruji, can you hear me?
Please identify yourself, ma'am.
Guruji, my name is Mrs. Megha Naik, and I'm speaking from UK. And I would like to ask you, when you send the PDF format of chakra meridian, and so could you please, I request you, if you could do it with the color coded. So if some energy starts from index finger or a ring finger, then we could follow it easily like an underground map to learn properly.
All right, I'll try and figure out. See, what I'll be sharing with you is something which I have either in my records or which I'll try and figure out to find from the internet. I am not very good at drawing, so I'll not be doing it myself, but I'll make sure that I give you a color-coded meridian and chakra drawing. Make sure that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Namaste.
Yes.
Namaste, Guruji.
Hello, hello, Guruji. My name is Harsha Shet, and my question is: if one of the chakras have gone imbalanced, would it affect all the other chakras?
It depends how much time has elapsed that it has gone unnoticed or uncared for. It is just like the endocrine system. Nowadays, we have doctors who specialize in the endocrine system. I still remember about 2 years ago, I solved the case of a woman whom incidentally I met even today, say about 3 hours before doing this session. Now, the problem was that she was suffering from a thyroid issue. And somehow I wasn't very convinced that this thyroid issue is only because of the thyroid gland. I suggested her to visit a doctor who is a specialist in the endocrine system. When she visited the doctor, he advised her certain tests. After she underwent the test revealed that her pituitary gland is out of shape, and this is a condition which the medical science is not able to solve. It is written on the websites like WebMD and all, which are very famous websites, which offer us medical information. So the point is that we found out that this particular thyroid problem is being caused because the thyroid receives a hormone from the pituitary gland, and since the pituitary is not functioning very well, therefore the thyroid is not able to work well. Now, I said, okay, that's fine, but since I know your life situation and the doctor doesn't, because she had a very bad marriage for the past 17, 18 years, he had been in constant stress. It was due to her husband as well as it was due to her own nature. But then for past 17 years, if you live in an environment of stress, then your adrenals are bound to take a toll. This is what my understanding was. So I told her to again visit a doctor and try and figure out if everything is okay with your adrenal glands. Because she was not coming to me for acupressure or for healing, so I was not talking to her about all this. She was just an astrology client for many years now. So I was not intruding into a different territory for which she did not come to me. Now she goes to the doctor again and she talks, and the doctor in turn says that yes, there is a deficiency in adrenaline And she comes back to me and I work on the adrenaline. This time I revealed her that I can do something if you let me do it. You come to me for 15 days and then if you feel okay, then you can go in for a recheck of the thyroid gland. So what we did was I tried and heal the adrenals for the first 7 days. I gave healing there. Then for the next 7 days on the third eye chakra through which the pituitary gland is related, and suddenly the thyroid started working better. Now this was amazing. But this happened over a period of time. If it is a new case, then an imbalance in one chakra won't lead to the imbalance in another chakra. However, it becomes chronic. Chronic means it comes from a root chrono, which means Saturn. So Chronos, Saturn is lame. It is the outside planet. It walks slowly. So if it has been a lot of time, then it is sure to affect some or the other chakra, which has been my practical experience. It is not written anywhere in the chakra books, which are available in the market.
एप्पल आ रहे, मैं एप्पल धोकर आ रहे, मैं खा रही हूँ.
एक सेकंड मैम,
ये मत पहन कर.
Sorry.
क्योंकि एक
Thank you.
Guruji, can you hear me?
Yes, Nisha ji, please go ahead. Please moderate.
Okay. Namaste. Okay, so Mayush Pai, Namaste. Mayush Pai from the UK has asked, the sound power, there's a lot of noise. There was sound power was demonstrated by the aid of the tuning fork and the chord of C major, keys C, E, G. Why do we not use this sound power with Reiki Chi energy to make healing twice effective?
Wonderful, very nice. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to mute all, and then you can unmute yourself, and that is how we'll be able to carry through, right?
Okay.
So the question, in case anybody missed, is if sound healing is also a very nice thing to do, and Reiki is also a very nice thing to do, then why don't we give a mixture of both Reiki and sound healing to make sure that that our healing is more effective? All right, this is a good line of thinking. However, the thing is that in case you have Indian roots, then you know that we have dals which we eat. Okay, and dals contain proteins. Now, there is something called the green dal, that means the moong ki dal, and then there is something, the black dal or the maki dal. Now, if both the dals contain protein, that means they can affect us positively, they can give us a lot of energy. Is it necessary for us to take both of them together? If you don't have Indian roots, all right, and you are a very modern person, and you take whiskey, all right, then there is one brand called Blue Label, and then there is another brand called Black Label, and both of them give equal pleasure. Is it necessary for us to mix both of them and then take it in order to, and will it actually develop the speed or develop the effectiveness of the treatment? If the logical answer to that is no, then the same goes with healing modalities. If somebody is trying to heal me through sounds, sound is also an energy medicine, and another person is trying to heal me through Reiki, Reiki is also an energy medicine. If both of them try to heal me together, will I heal faster? According to my experience, no. According to my experience, one is enough. Sound healing is a wonderful science by itself. Traditionally, the Indian civilization has explored sound healing to an extent which no other civilization has. What I showed to you was nothing but Tibetan bowls, which were tuned to a particular note, and we give to a person to heal him or her. However, the Indians went ahead with the mantra books. For every disease which you can think of, for every problem you can conceive of, if you take a mantra book, there is a mantra. And I was amazed when I did a few experiments with the mantra Vigyan, and some of them I have uploaded 1 or 2 videos when I talk about the power of sound. and the power of sound to cure any of the life problems, including the health problems, then I have explained it in about 30 to 40 minutes. How does it work? However, if we are doing Reiki, we are potent enough, we are powerful enough to play with that kind of energy that has an equal amount of power to make sure that we cause a healing in our own selves or in the or any other person.
With the sound power, thank you, Guruji. But the second part of this question, with the aid of the sound power and Reiki, can one strengthen the soul houses within a person? The soul houses, we say, in this case, the chakras.
See, I have talked about it in detail that these are the chakras, these are the energy centers, these are the core things as far as energy is concerned, and therefore it is very important for us that when we do healing on the chakras as well. However, as new people come and they give us new concepts, then they use new terminologies and they offer their own ideas. I'm not undermining newer ideas, but there were some masters, some Chinese masters, they had their own ideas, their own visions. They gave their own healing systems to the world, which is nice. It is not a bad thing to do. However, what I'm trying to say is, it is just holding the ear, not from this hand, but through this hand, because it is ultimately the human body which has to be healed, and there are levels of the human body. You can pick it from a soul house, or you can pick it from a chakra. Every soul house has a chakra. So yes, through the Reiki healing, we can affect the chakras and we can cause the healing. Through the soul houses, we can affect the health of a person, and through Reiki, we can affect the soul houses, and yes, we can cause healing.
So,
Guruji, earlier on, I just want to ask you that earlier on you mentioned treating some part of the body. You mentioned about the acupuncture. Does that mean that acupuncture is also not used because what you explained?
You asked me why acupuncture is not being used.
No, you mentioned it in the earlier on, answering one of the questions that he can, and as well as the acupuncture can be used to cure somebody. So
Yes.
the answer you just given now, does that mean you cannot use acupuncture or you can use acupuncture?
No, see what happens, the question was that if sound healing can be used to heal, and if Reiki can be used to heal, why don't we give both of them together to make the healing more meaningful and more effective? Now, since you've mentioned acupuncture, the question would translate to that if acupuncture, acupressure, pranayam, pranic healing, Reiki healing, sound healing, they are so effective, why don't we use all of them to make the healing more faster? The answer is very simple. Whatever you are doing, you are given commands to the mind to heal itself. The body heals itself. You are giving, I have a program called Reiki. I have another program called sounds. I have another program called acupressure. So these are the modalities, these are the languages which my CPU can understand. If I give multiple commands at one time, will not the energy of my body get divided into those commands, and therefore they will cause not a greater healing but a lesser healing? Those people who have studied the energy system, even those people who are very good at acupressure and acupuncture, they suggest if a person is suffering from multiple problems, do not try and treat multiple problems at once. Prioritize, give one command to the brain at one time, so that the whole chi or the whole ki in Japan and chi in China, the same pranic force which we say prana, it doesn't get divided into multiple commands. Otherwise, the effect would be lesser than what you initially thought. So we stick to one modality. If you want acupressure, you can use acupressure. So if I know 5 healing modalities, I will not tell a person who comes to me, all right, you know, I know 5 healing modalities. You come to me in the morning, I'll do acupressure. But you come to me in the evening, I'll do Reiki. And side by side, I'll also tell you some pranayams which we'll do on the weekends. No. We are not going to do that. That is going to confuse the mind where to put the energy onto. Let the mind operate with a single command. That would be the best thing to do. And that is what is also taught in management. In management, we say one boss for one employee. If you have 2 bosses for one employee, it will be difficult. So when we are taught the principles of management by Henry Fayol or any management thinkers, they also have to do with the human mind. So 2 directives make us difficult to operate. They cause a dilemma to the human mind. So 1 command is enough. 2 commands will not help to make the healing faster.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.